The Ndrangheta, an in-depth examination of Italy's most powerful mafia. The Ndrangheta, a secretive and highly dangerous criminal organization, has emerged as one of the most powerful and feared mafia groups in the world. Originating from the southern Italian region of Calabria, this syndicate has evolved from a regional criminal network into a global enterprise with a stronghold on illegal activities such as drug trafficking, extortion, and money laundering. Unlike its Sicilian counterpart, the Cosa Nostra, the Ndrangheta has managed to maintain a lower profile, allowing it to expand its influence and operations across borders, making it one of the most formidable criminal organizations on the planet. Origins and early history. The roots of the Ndrangheta can be traced back to the 19th century in Calabria, a region historically plagued by poverty and isolation. The term Ndrangheta is believed to derive from the Greek word andragathía, meaning courage or loyalty. Unlike the Cosa Nostra, which gained prominence in the urban centers of Sicily, the Ndrangheta developed in the rural and mountainous areas of Calabria, far from the reach of government authorities. This geographical isolation allowed the group to cultivate a strong sense of identity, family loyalty, and secrecy, which would become the cornerstones of its organizational structure. In its early years, the Ndrangheta was primarily involved in small-scale criminal activities such as cattle rustling, kidnapping, and smuggling. The organization was loosely structured, with various clans or coscia operating independently in different Calabrian towns and villages. These clans were often led by a capobastone, a figure of authority who commanded respect and loyalty from the members of his clan. However, despite their autonomy, the clans were bound together by a shared code of conduct and a common purpose: the pursuit of power and wealth through illicit means. Rise to power. The shift to drug trafficking. The Ndrangheta's transition from a regional criminal group to a global mafia powerhouse can be largely attributed to its involvement in the international drug trade. This shift began in the 1970s, when the organization capitalized on the growing demand for narcotics in Europe and North America. The Ndrangheta's unique position in the Mediterranean, coupled with its established smuggling networks, made it an ideal player in the burgeoning drug trade. One of the key figures in this transition was Antonio Macri, a prominent Ndrangheta boss who established connections with South American drug cartels. Macri's efforts laid the groundwork for the Ndrangheta's dominance in the cocaine trade, a position it continues to hold to this day. By the 1980s, the Ndrangheta had secured a near monopoly on the European cocaine market, importing vast quantities of the drug from Colombia and distributing it across the continent. The profits generated from drug trafficking transformed the Ndrangheta into a financial powerhouse. The organization reinvested its drug money into legitimate businesses, real estate, and financial institutions, creating a complex web of money laundering operations that allowed it to hide its illicit profits and further expand its influence. The Ndrangheta's involvement in the drug trade also allowed it to forge alliances with other criminal organizations, including the Sicilian Mafia, the Camorra, and South American cartels, solidifying its position as a key player in the global underworld. Organizational structure and family ties. One of the Ndrangheta's most distinctive features is its organizational structure, which is based on blood ties and family loyalty. Unlike the Cosa Nostra, which operates with a hierarchical structure with a clear chain of command, the Ndrangheta is organized into a loose confederation of clans, each of which operates independently but is bound by family connections. These clans are typically composed of extended family members, including fathers, sons, brothers, and cousins, who are bound by a strict code of silence known as omerta. The Ndrangheta's emphasis on family ties has allowed it to maintain a high level of secrecy and resilience. The organization is notoriously difficult to infiltrate, as outsiders are rarely trusted and membership is often restricted to blood relatives. This insularity has enabled the Ndrangheta to operate under the radar for decades, avoiding the attention of law enforcement and the media while expanding its criminal empire. At the top of the Ndrangheta hierarchy is the crimine, a governing body that oversees the activities of the various clans and mediates disputes between them. The crimine is composed of the most powerful and respected bosses from each clan, who meet periodically to discuss strategy and coordinate operations. Despite its existence, the crimine exerts only limited control over the individual clans, which retain a high degree of autonomy and are free to pursue their own criminal enterprises. Extortion and protection rackets. Extortion has long been a staple of the Ndrangheta's criminal portfolio. The organization's involvement in protection rackets dates back to its early days when it would offer protection to local businesses in exchange for a regular payment known as pizzo. Refusal to pay the pizzo often resulted in violence, arson, or even murder, as the Ndrangheta sought to maintain control over its territory and enforce its demands. The Ndrangheta's extortion activities have evolved over time, expanding beyond the borders of Calabria and into other regions of Italy and Europe. Today, the organization extorts businesses of all sizes, from small family-run shops to large multinational corporations. The Ndrangheta's ability to instill fear and maintain a reputation for ruthlessness has allowed it to extract millions of euros in protection money each year, which it then uses to finance its other criminal activities. In addition to traditional extortion, the Ndrangheta has also diversified its operations to include more sophisticated forms of financial crime. The organization is known to engage in corporate raiding, where it takes over legitimate businesses through a combination of intimidation, fraud, and financial manipulation. Once in control of a business, the Ndrangheta uses it as a front for money laundering, tax evasion, and other illicit activities, all while siphoning off profits for its own gain. Money laundering and financial crimes. The Ndrangheta's involvement in money laundering is one of the key factors that have allowed it to become one of the most powerful and wealthy criminal organizations in the world. The vast profits generated from drug trafficking, extortion, and other illicit activities must be laundered in order to be integrated into the legitimate economy. The Ndrangheta has developed a highly sophisticated money laundering operation that spans multiple countries and involves a wide range of financial instruments and institutions. One of the primary methods used by the Ndrangheta to launder money is through real estate investments. The organization is known to purchase properties in prime locations, particularly in northern Italy, Switzerland, and other European countries, using illicit funds. These properties are then resold at a profit, with the proceeds appearing as legitimate income. The Ndrangheta also invests heavily in the construction industry, where it can inflate costs and funnel illicit profits into building projects. Another key component of the Ndrangheta's money laundering operation is its use of offshore tax havens and shell companies. The organization has established a network of front companies and bank accounts in countries with lax financial regulations, allowing it to move money across borders and obscure the origins of its funds. These offshore entities are often used to invest in legitimate businesses, including hotels, restaurants, and manufacturing companies, further blurring the line between legal and illegal enterprises. The Ndrangheta's ability to launder money on such a massive scale has given it a significant advantage over other criminal organizations. By integrating its illicit profits into the global economy, the Ndrangheta has been able to diversify its investments, reduce its exposure to law enforcement, and ensure the long-term sustainability of its criminal empire. Global expansion and international influence. While the Ndrangheta's origins are firmly rooted in Calabria, the organization has expanded its operations far beyond Italy's borders. Today, the Ndrangheta is a global criminal enterprise with a presence in over 30 countries, including the United States, Canada, Australia, and several European nations. The organization's international reach is largely driven by its involvement in the global drug trade, but it is also active in other criminal markets, including arms trafficking, human smuggling, and counterfeiting. One of the key factors behind the Ndrangheta's global expansion is its ability to adapt to new environments and forge alliances with other criminal organizations. In the United States, for example, the Ndrangheta has established ties with the American Cosa Nostra, particularly in New York and New Jersey, where it is involved in drug trafficking and money laundering. In Canada, the Ndrangheta has become the dominant Mafia group, controlling much of the country's cocaine trade and exerting influence over local businesses and politics. The Ndrangheta's international operations are facilitated by its decentralized structure, which allows individual clans to operate independently and establish their own networks in foreign countries. These clans often maintain close ties with their counterparts in Calabria, ensuring a steady flow of drugs, money, and information across borders. The Ndrangheta's global reach has made it a formidable player in the international underworld, with the ability to influence markets, corrupt officials, and destabilize governments. Law enforcement challenges and efforts to combat the Ndrangheta. The Ndrangheta's secretive nature, decentralized structure, and emphasis on family ties have made it one of the most difficult criminal organizations to combat. Unlike the Cosa